This is the Road Atlanta track guide for the Red Bull Junior. So starting the lap here, 5th gear, shifting to 6 around 230 k's. Looking for the end of the orange cones on the left hand side for your first brake marker. It's only a slight sort of touch of the brakes, down to 5th, down to 4th, release the brake, no input, and then sort of pick the throttle back up at the apex of the corner. So as soon as I go to 4th, I'm starting to release the brake, get on the throttle at the apex. Be careful not to understeer to the left hand side. The minimum sort of speed you want to be is about 180, and you'll make it through fine. Position the car in the middle of the track here. Looking for this white line, there's another one just in front of it, so start of the curb, brake about in between those two white lines, and you want to be aiming straight at the apex of the next corner. So that curb, you want to go straight over the top of that curb in 3rd gear. Little bit of throttle when you're going over the curb to settle the car down, otherwise it'll sort of lift the rear or lift the front and it'll become unstable. And then you can plant the throttle in 3rd coming out of the corner. This is all flat all the way down the hill. Be careful not to turn in too late into this one because you'll miss the apex, so you need to turn in relatively earlier so you can get the apex and you make that next corner, because if you don't get the apex of this one, you're going to understeer and end up going on the grass for the next corner. So this is all flat. Now thinking about braking here, I sort of, where the curb straightens up, get on the brakes, down to 4th, down to 3rd at the apex of the corner, and then drive out of the corner in 3rd. On the brakes, down to 3rd, back on the throttle. You can use pretty much like a lot of this curb. If I just go outside the car, you can go slightly. I think you can have your left hand wheels on pretty much on that curb or on the yellow line, the inside curb, without getting a penalty. Otherwise it's a second penalty if you go too wide. And then if we go further up the road, you need to make sure you're back on the track before that white line, because if you're not, it's a penalty. So coming out in 3rd, upshift to 4th, revving the car out, 5th. Now you're looking, I sort of brake relative to that Michelin Raceway sign on the left hand side, sort of just before it into 4th. Not too hard on the brakes, otherwise you'll end up sort of locking the fronts and running a little bit wide. And then 3rd, just before the apex of the corner, you can go a little bit higher than the curb because the banking sort of pulls the car in, and you can get on the throttle quite early out of this corner. And then briefly flat, and then sort of where you see the darker part of the road starts to turn into the corner, you want to brake relatively hard because this is a pretty sharp corner. Down to 2nd, hit the apex there and get on the throttle as soon as you can to get a good run out onto the straight. So up to 3rd, rev it out a little bit to 4th, rev it out a little bit in 4th to 5th to get up the hill. Again shifting around 230. Now, brake marker coming down the hill, it's quite difficult when it's shaded. But there is a line across the road. I think it's in between the 200 and the 100 board. You want to brake just before it. So that line there, yeah, it's about where the 100 board is. So you're braking probably about 120-ish, 110, 120. Pretty heavy on the brakes. Down to 5th, down to 4th, down to 3rd. And then you're going to pull 2nd probably about the middle of the corner, and then quickly back up to third. A little lift coming out of here. It's very easy to understeer and also lose the rear if you have too much throttle on. And then as soon as you get out of that corner, it's flat all the way to the line. Just follow the dark part of the road. And there we have it, a 19.9. So I will go back to the start and let the lap run. Hopefully that helps, and good luck come Sunday.